Hi guys, it's Sophie. Welcome to Sophie Knits. It's a place where we talk about all things knitting. Welcome if you're new here, or welcome back if you've been here before. I'm going to have a chat today about my Maker's Journal, and it's a digital Maker's Journal. And it's one that I didn't make in January, it's one that I made at the beginning of April. So yeah, maybe it's like a financial year diary, but essentially I was thinking about creativity and how it will fit in my life and how that might change again when I go back to work. And one of the things that sparked this, it sounds a bit weird, I don't know, a bit hippie, but my mum and I go to a restorative yoga where you are just holding a few poses, and it's an hour and a half. It's like 6 poses in an hour and a half, and a lot of it's about reflection and about your mental state and things. And one of the things that I really came away with from one of those sessions was that being creative really matters to me, and finding space for that is one of the ways that I make joy in my life. And that regardless of the other, I guess, like responsibilities, duties that I have in my life, I need to carve out that time to make, and that makes me happy. So that was what this was born of, was kind of how can I remind myself of those goals as I move into the next stage of motherhood and parenthood. And I thought it might be fun just to share like what I've made. I use Notion to make this kind of digital journal. I'm not someone who's very good at scrapbooking and printing things out. It's just not my style, but digitally I can definitely do that. So I thought I'd share what I've got on here and talk a bit about how I'm using it as a bit of a diary and as a bit of a goal tracker. So I did a couple of things. One of the first things I did was make a vision board for the year. So I looked through my patterns on Ravelry and really thought about what was I excited to knit, what kind of brought me a lot of joy. I also went on Pinterest and sort of had a look there really at the kinds of things that were inspiring me, and then put together this vision board based on what I was looking at and enjoying, so that I had something to go back to as to what that overall creative energy goes to, because I think sometimes I can get stuck in one project. And then I decided to do a Make 9, which isn't a Make 9, it's more like 9 goals for 2025, but the Make 9 format kind of appealed. So I thought I'd just share what those ones are with you. So the first one was to make a knitted dress, or cast on a knitted dress specifically. I've wanted to knit a dress for a while, but it just feels really overwhelming. Like, I think because I want it to be a summery dress, I'd want to use summery fibres, so more plant-based fibres, which are harder on the hands, and I probably want it to be a lighter weight wool, so it's a really big project. It's going to cover your whole body, and it's a small gauge, and it's a yarn that might hurt your fingers. That's why this goal is cast on, because I think I really would like one to be able to wear, and the only way I'm going to do that is by starting. So that is one of the first ones on my Make 9. I then have a sewing one. I want to sew a wearable garment. I haven't yet had the confidence to do that. I have sewn some bags, I've sewn tablecloths, I've sewn curtains, and I'm currently sewing an apron, which doesn't count as my wearable garment, but I want to be able to sew something that I would actually wear outside of the house as a piece of clothing, and I think the only way I'm going to do that, because it's a confidence thing, is just by getting on and trying to do that. So yes, that one's a scary one that's on there. The only one that I've actually done so far is to knit a work top, and spoilers because I know I haven't done an update in a while, but I have finished my Sabai top, which is my work top. I want to wear it over like a blouse because my office has like very intense aircon, but I think that would be nice in that it's not too hot, and I could also, if it was really hot, like strip off and change the layers over on the way back. So yeah, so that one I have actually done. And then I want to gift knit a jumper. Again, this one, I think it's like commitment. A lot of these are around about the time commitment, and I struggle with that sense of committing to one thing. I have promised my mum a jumper, and her birthday is on the 8th of January, so I know in this year I need to finish gift knitting that jumper so that I can give it to her for the next winter. But I am actually kind of slightly cheating. I am actually knitting my Sonna jumper. It's my Whips bag, here it is, it's a sibling sweater. So technically this could count, but the spirit of it was my mum's jumper. So I think I might take this one off for something else, and my mum's will stay on there. And I think with those it's more about me trying to think about how to map that out, particularly because she wants it in a really dark charcoal grey, which isn't a massively appealing colour to knit in. But yeah, so I think it's kind of, how do I eke that out so then it doesn't feel like I'm getting too perfectionistic about it. Number 5 is I want to go to an in-person knitting event, and I was really hoping that I was going to go to one tonight actually. I found just by chance a Knit and Natter that's just started locally to me that works, it is in an evening so it would work with work. But I've been really poorly actually the last couple of weeks. I've had like really high temperatures and been sick and all sorts of stuff. It's not been very pleasant, and I'm still not back to 100% today. The makeup is helping a little bit. But yeah, so I don't think I'm quite up for that yet, but I'd really like to do that. I don't have any in-person friends who I knit with. I have one friend who I play D&D with who's also crafty, but we don't like knit together outside of those sessions, and I'd like to have that. I'd like to have some people I can just like message on a group chat about what we're making. Then next I have a goal to make 8 pairs of socks. I'm actually doing pretty well with this. I think I've made 5 or 6 pairs of socks so far. I really want socks to be the first thing I think that I will only have homemade items of. I love my knit socks and they're just so much better than cotton socks. For some reason I don't seem to have the issue other people do of fitting them into your shoes. For me they fit just fine, and I just think they're so comfortable and so much more breathable in some ways than a lot of the socks that I've owned before. So yes, I really want to grow my sock collection over time, and I think 8 pairs feels like a good amount in a year. It's not so that I'm like really pushing the sock knitting, but it's just enough to have some rolling over. The next one I know I'm going to do, and that is go to a yarn festival. Sorry for the angle change, my camera battery just died. Yeah, I was just saying that I am going to be going to the Big Flock in Bristol, and I'm really excited. It's a new festival, so it's the first year that they're running it, and it is fairly local to me, so I'm very excited. It's also my first like full day away from Whit, so that's a bit bittersweet. Oh, I think he's woken up. We're trying to kind of leave him at the minute for a full hour, so I will try and get through the video. We'll see how I go. Yes, so I'm really excited to go to that. And I think just kind of like be in the community, but if anyone else is going, I'd love to know. It'd be good to say hello to some people there or have someone I might know there, because I am going by myself. My husband will be around, but like I'm not going with other knitting people. Yes, so fingers crossed that's enjoyable. And then the 8th thing that I want to try and do is repair a piece of clothing. And I think what I have in mind for this is darning a pair of socks properly. So I have darned socks before, but I haven't done it like with a darning tool. I've kind of done it like just on a roundish thing that I found somewhere, like bottom of a glass. I think I want to like look up how to actually darn properly and do that, because I have a pair of socks that I knitted, which are my Christmas socks, which the yarn I just don't think was right for sock knitting, and they aren't holding up very well. So I think what I want to do is just use some scrap yarn, like of a sock yarn, and just practice with those socks, like let them fall apart, let myself darn them and learn how to darn by repairing these socks, and wear them all the way through. I think that could be quite good fun. So I think that's what I had in mind, but I'm also open to like other types of visual mending, because it's something that I feel with my knitting skills and my sewing skills sort of starting to come through. I also embroider to some extent. I definitely have done a lot of cross stitching. I feel as though I could start to do some visible mending, and it'd be a nice skill to have in my arsenal. So yeah, so that's kind of, I don't know whether it will just be the socks or whether I'll count that as them, or whether I'll think about other mending, but those are the things I had in mind. And then the last one I have on my list is to knit a colourwork jumper. So as I said, I could potentially use this little jumper as my colourwork jumper, but I think what I really meant was a full-on stranded colourwork jumper. I'm not sure what I want to knit for this one yet, and I'm not sure what kind of colourwork I want to do. Maybe I might do some duplicate stitching, which I have done before, or some intarsia, which I haven't done for a long while. But I think that's what my challenge is going to be doing colourwork on a bigger scale and feeling confident to do so, whatever variety of colourwork that is. So those are the 9 things that are in my making journal and are the things that I really want to try my best to focus on in 2025. The other section I have in my Notion, I think it's really useful, is just my maker's notes. So I have my own measurements in there along with my vanilla sock recipe, but it's just a home for anything really that I want to note about my making over time. So something I actually thought to note the other day was, I think needles bigger than 5mm kind of hurt my hands. So that's kind of new to me. I haven't knitted enough, I don't think, to differentiate between like a 4.5 and a 5 or whatever. And now I'm knitting a lot more, I can kind of tell. So it's things like that where I could say like, oh, I'm curious, this seems to be happening. And then I can reflect on that and understand like fibre preferences or even breed preferences, or again like needle types, those kind of things. And I think that's a nice thing to have gently there over time, not an intrusive thing that I need to do loads of reflecting on, but just every now and again when I notice something, it's somewhere to keep those thoughts. And then the other part of my maker's journal is like monthly entries, and I'll show you some of those as well. So that kind of looks at what are the skills that I've learnt that I haven't done before in that month, so I can kind of remember like how far I've come over time. What finished knitted objects and sewed objects have I achieved? And what were my making reflections? So what did I like think back on? Like what was it that I learned from that month? And I think that will become really useful perhaps over longer periods of time. But it's been a really nice exercise to do, and I think particularly when I go back to work and things are busier, those making reflections will be really important so that I can feel as though I'm still creating, even though I will have less knitting time in each day and be busier and doing more, and I guess like wearing more hats, wearing a work hat and a mum hat. But yes, I really enjoyed that I've had that opportunity to record those things, and I have filled up until April, and sort of just show you. So like for example there we can see I've got a works in progress section. I added that in a little bit later to just have some comments on it. And it's been nice to have those moments to kind of go in and really focus on them. It's a process I've really enjoyed. I think that's really all I'm going to say about it. And I would definitely recommend it if you haven't thought about kind of making a place to reflect on your making. It sounds like it's so like navel gazing, but sorry, excuse me. It is something that I feel like I've really valued and has helped me have some more confidence in what I'm making as well. Yes, hopefully you've enjoyed this video and hearing a little bit about all the things that I have been making and creating, and I will see you guys again soon in my next video. Look after yourselves until then. Bye.